Hi, and welcome to the Parkin Real Estate Podcast, where we talk all things real estate, business related, and really anything happening in your life. If you've got a few minutes, we'd love to have you sit back, relax, and enjoy what we have to offer. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Tuesday. This week's going by quickly, and it's only Tuesday. The Tuesday Parkin Real Estate Podcast. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it so much, and we're always evolving here. I wanted to talk today. There's three subjects that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and for you to ponder. This podcast has really been an outlet for me to talk about all things business and real estate and such. So it gives me a chance to express my views and thoughts. They're not always right. They're not always wrong. But what I hope it does is it allows you to think about it and create your own and formulate your own opinion on the subjects at hand. I try to make it relevant to today's business and real estate world. So I appreciate you having me along with you wherever you are, whether you're in your car or at home, at work. It's truly an honor to steal some time away from you. So three things I want to talk to you today about were Toronto seniors suffering quietly, why Toronto seniors are getting kicked out of where they live. I'm going to talk to you about why Toronto lost their bid for Amazon. And a news report says that Toronto won by losing their bid. And the third thing is, fun topic, IKEA is going to buy back your used furniture. Let's dive right into it. Toronto seniors suffering quietly. This is on mortgagebrokernews.ca. A report out done by Neil Sharma talks about the gentrification and frenetic pace of development in Toronto and how it's having its effect on the city's seniors. About a third of seniors, he writes, rent, with the majority spending more than 30% of their income on housing. And as rents keep rising, it becomes especially precarious for seniors who live on fixed incomes. I'm going to talk about that briefly, but want to get through this article first. Seniors are often the victims of a renoviction. If you guys don't know what that means, if a landlord is renting a space or a condo or a house to someone and they've been there for 10 years and the person's paying, I'm just using a random number, $1,000 a month, the landlord can actually go in and do a renovation, increase the rents, and get more money per month. And it's a way that a lot of landlords either kick tenants out or raise the rents. Problem is, the seniors can't afford the rent increases, one, and they don't want to live through a renovation, two. So a significant number of landlords are targeting them because they've been living in their homes for a long time. The rents are lower than what the current rental market value is, and landlords can get a lot higher rates. The possibility that many seniors can end up homeless is all too real, according to the Dixon Hall Neighborhood Services, which partners with other organizations to run a program called Out in the Cold. There has been a 5% increase in seniors in the last 3 years, I guess, becoming homeless because they can't afford their current rents. Affordable housing doesn't appear to be a realistic option either. In Toronto, the waiting list is almost 9 years and 100,000 households long. Let's think about that for a second. There's over 100,000, that's not people, that's households, are waiting to get into Toronto's affordable housing. That's a whole nother podcast. However, for those who don't qualify for special priority status, the wait is even longer. Etobicoke resident Elizabeth Stone has waited nearly a full decade and told TVO.org that she doesn't believe she's any closer. I've attended meetings on the housing crisis, but I don't see any solution. Housing must be a right. It's a very small percentage of happy seniors that can travel to Florida in the winter, have a cottage in the summer, and every Friday the church is making a free dinner. It's full of seniors. Another facet of senior housing, he goes on to write, is the tribulations. Senior housing tribulations is that when they find affordable housing, it's usually far to the city core where all of their healthcare communities are. That's a point I want to talk about. Moreover, studies have demonstrated that moving seniors out of established communities or away from support services has a horrible effect on their health. Various groups are asking the City of Toronto and provincial government to step in with immediate solutions. Prevention is one of the strongest tools to maintain livability, and we must ensure better access to eviction-related supports, especially for seniors. Okay, so I want to talk about this briefly. I'm trying to keep my podcast less than 15 minutes, but sometimes I go over it. So if I do and you're having a hard time, I apologize. I've had this conversation with a number of people in regards to how the government sold the baby boomers on how CPP and old age pension was going to take care of them when they got older. To further add on to that point, a lot of companies were offering what they call pensions. Now, unless you're a teacher or a firefighter or in some sort of public sector, a majority of private companies are not offering pensions anymore. It's just not sustainable. You pay into your pension while you're there, and unless you have, like the Ontario Teacher Pension Fund, I believe is what it's called, where they have so much divested investments. They're everywhere with investments. They own like the Toronto Maple. They own a bunch of different things where their money's working for them. There's always going to be money. A majority of companies just can't offer a pension. So what happens? We know the stats that a majority of people don't save. A majority of people don't have investments. That's just a fact. There's no arguing that. It's not here to condemn anybody. Just people don't, and mainly for the reason they just don't make enough money. So what do? We live in a society today where we have a lot of older people that are aging that did not properly prepare for this time in their life because they thought next year I'm going to do this, and then next year came in, and then next year I'm going to do this. And it's of no fault really of their own, but there is they should have a moral responsibility to themselves to make sure that they're able to maintain whatever lifestyle they want to maintain. The challenge is what do we do as a society? How do we take care of these people who don't necessarily have what they need to survive? And it's I don't have a solution for you. It's a very challenging topic to discuss and come up with a right solution because I don't think there is one. On one hand, we don't want seniors living out on the street. I think we can all agree with that. But on the other hand, how are we going to afford to pay for everything that needs to be paid for in order to take care of everybody that doesn't have anything or can't afford to take care of themselves? We can't raise taxes anymore. I mean, the top tax rate is sitting at 50%. For every dollar you make, 50% of it's gone. Then, on every dollar that you've been taxed on, that 50 cents you have left over, you pay 13% HST on. So if you're in the top tax bracket, your effective tax rate is 63% and climbing. That doesn't include extra taxes like carbon tax and gas tax and all of the other things that you pay additional tax on that you don't really factor in. So you can't raise tax on lower income people. You can't raise tax on the middle class because they're already maxed out. And really, you can try and tax more of the 1% population. But the problem is that a lot of these 1% population people are just going to end up moving out of the country. And a lot of these 1% population really control a lot of the business. They're the ones that have put up a lot of money, invested a lot into themselves, into their employees, into their companies. And I feel they have the right to make whatever they make. And I don't feel that they should be taxed, if they make $1 million and they're paying $630,000 in taxes every year, and they're not, because while they make $1 million, they're not actually going to take $1 million out. And that's a whole nother topic. So it's a solution. It's a problem that doesn't have an easy solution. And I don't know what to do. I don't know. But I know we just can't start building more structures with money we don't have. But people need to have a warm bed at night and a warm meal. So part of the article, they were talking about displacing seniors, but I think that really is probably one of the only solutions that is cost effective, to be completely honest with you. There's so many cities now that are growing exponentially. And it might be time to take a hard look and say, look, we can't afford to keep you here, but we can provide a solution that's not going to put you out on the street. And I don't know. I'm actually very interested to know what your opinion is on this. Going into topic number 2. A CBC report written by Jacqueline Hansen. And this is an interesting one. Why Toronto won by losing its bid for Amazon's new headquarters. I'm not going to read the entire article. It's CBC article. Very well written, but I feel like there was a bit of the point is missed here. And really what it talks about, Amazon was potentially going to have 50,000 jobs wherever they ultimately picked. It ends up they're going to split between Virginia and New York, and 5,000 people are going to end up in Nashville. Some people in Toronto's tech sector, however, said that they were worried about Amazon coming here. It would be a very big fish in a small pond, eating up a lot of the talent. I think that's very short-sighted. I'll talk about that. We already have a significant talent shortage. Canada growth companies need the talent. I don't know how I'm missing part of this article here, but basically what they're saying here is a lot of companies were willing to basically, the analogy I'll use, drop their pants to get whatever and do whatever to get Amazon to come to their city. That included incentives with healthcare. That included incentives with corporate tax. There's a lot of incentives. And quite frankly, I think Toronto should have done pretty much whatever they could have to bring a company like Amazon here. But a lot of politicians are very short-sighted when it comes to infrastructure and bringing companies that have high-paying jobs. See, there's two ways to look at this. Number one is that 50,000 people that are probably going to be making $65,000 to $70,000 and more, probably closer to $100,000 if they're corporate and more, are going to come to the city. So let's think about this for a second. You're going to have 50,000 new tax-paying residents making $100,000 or more, paying probably approximately an average tax rate of about 40% or $40,000. $40,000 a year per person. Let's do the math. 40,000 times 50,000. That is $2 billion a year in added tax revenue. Now, that's not all going to go to the city. Some of that's federal. Even if you cut it in half, you have $1 billion a year coming into the city of Toronto in the way of taxes. And I'm going to tell you something. We could use it. Now, we have things like, well, they're going to crowd the subway systems, and they're going to crowd this, and they're going to cause chaos here. Let me tell you something, people are coming into this city no matter what happens. And a lot of those people that are going to potentially work at Amazon, they may not live in the downtown core. So it's not just the downtown that's going to benefit. It's going to be other municipalities. So, but the big thing that's missed here is that Amazon is going to bring other companies along with it. I think the Amazon effect is far superior than anybody really knows. Like, I think they're probably going to add not 50,000 jobs to the economy. Probably in the next 5 to 10 years, it'll be 200,000 to 300,000 jobs to whatever economy they decide to pick. Well, they've already picked. Significant amounts of work. When you look at a company like Magna, car manufacturing company, they don't make cars, but they make car parts. The net jobs that they create that's not even part of them is in the hundreds of thousands. Someone's got to make those screws and those bolts and those plastic pieces. I mean, it's exponential, the growth that Toronto, and when I say Toronto, we're talking about all the way from the core down back to Hamilton, the growth that they would see. And the big problem that these politicians are talking about is, well, the corporate tax and how they'd be getting cuts. Who cares what Amazon pays in corporate tax? It doesn't matter. The corporate tax to me is a bit of a farce. The reason being is, would you rather have 50,000 people paying a huge amount of tax? Or would you rather have Amazon, who's probably not going to run anything revenue-wise through Toronto, so there's not going to matter about corporate tax anyways, get $100 million in corporate tax a year? And I'm picking a random number. Maybe it's $1 billion. I don't know. But I would rather have Amazon come and bring 50,000 immediate jobs with probably another 200,000 follow-up jobs behind it. No stats to back that up. Then have nothing. And we have nothing. See, the problem is that our politicians, and it's not a party, and I'm not here to play politics, it's not that at all, but the people that are in politics in general are concerned about what's happening today without thinking about the future and what's coming. And we need to change that mentality. We need to understand that in 5 years, we need to have this much tax revenue to pay for, and let's go back to the previous topic we talked about, seniors on the street. So I don't think it's a bad thing to have Amazon or any large company come to Toronto. And quite frankly, if we don't have enough tech here, let's incentivize people to come here and work in our system, to pay the taxes, to eat at the restaurants, to spend at the malls, to make sure that the rest of us have jobs. It's not just about Amazon. Last topic of the day, IKEA is talking about buying back your furniture, gently used furniture. Are you at the point in your life where you're done with your IKEA Billy bookcase? It may be hard for some to imagine that this is such a life stage, but should you find yourself there, you now have more options than selling your used furniture on Craigslist and, quite frankly, on Kijiji. As of November, Canada IKEA branches will buy back your gently used IKEA furniture in return for a store credit. It will be sold at a reduced price in the store as is. Brilliant move by IKEA. Brilliant move. Reason being, they get you back in the store for free. Now, you're going to say, well, it's not for free. They're giving me back money. This is true. But say you have a bookcase that you pay $200 for and they're willing to give it to you for $50. Even if they sell it for $40 and they lose $10, they know that that $50 gift card they've given you is going to turn into $200. It's genius marketing. It's absolutely genius marketing. So they're going to spend $10, right? So $50 are going to give you, they're going to sell it for $40. They're going to lose $10. They're going to spend $10 to get you in the store to spend another $50, $100, $250. Bravo to IKEA. And I think it's great for the environment because it's repurposing furniture. It's not getting thrown out. There's a little bit of money exchanged. And quite frankly, if the furniture isn't up to snuff, but it's still in okay shape, but IKEA doesn't want to take it, you can always Take it to the Salvation Army, the Habitat for Humanity, Diabetes Canada. They all still will pick your furniture up and repurpose it for people that really need it. So bravo to IKEA. I really think that's a great idea. And on that note, we are done for today, Tuesday, November 13th. That is your business topics. Doesn't really tie into real estate, but it doesn't always have to. Thank you so much. I appreciate you listening. Go out and have yourself a great Tuesday.